The person coming to the stage next, he's been in the industry for a bazillion years, 6 or 7 months.
Once or twice.
He tours all across really the world. He's also going to be on our Legends Roundtable tomorrow at maybe 3 or 4. Check the schedule, 4 o'clock. So please tune into that as well. I'll check the schedule. Please, everyone, give it up for Mr. Alan Sands.
Are you all right? Oh, bigger.
Jazz hands.
Hi, I'm Alan.
Hi,
I'm
Alan.
thrilled you guys are here. Disappointed in the turnout, but who the hell cares? All the important people are here, right? Good. And the great words of Terry Stokes. All the quality people applaud. And those people that aren't such good quality, thank you. There's only one. I'm going to introduce you to toys. I mean, that's really the bottom line, is that I'm just going to do a hodgepodge of stuff that I own, that I bring, that I carry with me everywhere because it gets me out of jams when you least expect them. And jams happen we're doing 150 shows a year. Maybe 200 because we do county fairs, and at county fairs you're doing 3 shows a day. And if you get a 5-day contract, you're doing 15 shows in that week. If you get a 17-day contract, you're doing 51 shows in that 2.5-week period. I don't get a lot of 17-day fairs for whatever reason, but I have over the years. Just to quickly tell you, I got a broadcasting degree. I started playing with sound when I was about 12. I started recording on 8-tracks. Okay, I had an 8-track recorder, and I would actually mix tapes from cassettes onto the 8-tracks and make myself mixtapes. And then I started working in nightclubs in the Catskills. If you know who the Catskills were, they were the mountain resorts outside of New York and Pennsylvania, and those resorts began in the turn of the 19th century, really 1920s, and they all kind of went out of business right about at the time that I left, which was 78, is when I kind of left the Catskills, 81 permanently. But I was doing lights and sound inside the booths because I was in the entertainment department at these events. So I was already working with cabling and microphones and getting to know the technology, but I also didn't understand what a VU meter was, and I really wanted to understand that. It was this little lights that were jumping up and down, or these needles that were flipping back and forth on the mixer. And I just didn't comprehend what watts, ohms, amps, volts, how they related to each other. And I wanted to understand that. So I went to broadcasting school, and because that was the closest thing you could get to an audio degree. And I say I got a degree in buttons, knobs, and switches. I only got a 2-year degree. It took me about 3.5 years to get because I majored in marijuana and only sub-majored in, that's not true, actually, in high school I majored in marijuana. Anyway, I didn't really fully grasp in college. It was when I was hands-on after the fact that I really began to comprehend everything I had learned in college. And the big thing that taught me was I owned inflatable games. And I was blowing breakers. So I had to understand the mathematical formula of what would blow a breaker, okay? And the formula is pretty easy, and as adults, you will comprehend it. But our electricity is 110, 120 volts here in the US, 220 or 240 when you're overseas, but I'll stay with the US. You'll have to translate for yourself. 120 volts, 15 amp breaker. Multiply them together, you have 1,800 watts. That means you can plug in 1,800 watts worth of toys before you blow your breaker. And I learned that because of the blowers that were inflating my inflatable games. They were all either 6.9 or 6.5 or 9.6 amps. So I knew that I was using up that many of the amps. So if I plugged in 2, 9 amp blowers, I'd blow a 15 amp breaker, but I wouldn't blow a 20 amp breaker. You follow? So the formula that you want to always remember, and when somebody says how much power do you need for sound, you need a 15 amp breaker. If you're plugging in lights or you're plugging in other equipment, you're going to run into problems. Things that I learned early on is when you're taping down your wires, you don't run your sound cables in parallel with your power cables, because there's a 60 amp hum going through these cables, and you're going to get buzz. You're going to get hum. You also don't plug your speakers into the same wall socket that is connected to the breaker in the breaker box that's connected to the same lights, especially if they're fluorescents. You will get hum because it's going to the same breaker in the breaker box. Little thing, I'm throwing out a million little tidbits, and what you absorb and what you remember is going to be great. And then it's working with it that you discover these things. The one thing I want to teach you that I feel is pretty important is how to tape down a cable. Because you're going to be taping down cables, and they're going to come up off the ground, because people are going to walk on them. That's why you're taping them down. I did a lot of audio at trade shows and conventions, so I'm just going to take down this much of it because it all becomes the same. This is duct tape. I don't like duct tape. Duct tape leaves a residue. But I'm going to teach you how to tape it down, and then I'm going to teach you how to untape it. Okay? And this is an older roll too, it makes it all the worse. So when you're taping down cables, you see how I'm putting it over on one side of the cable? Next, I'm going to put it over the other side of the cable. That is how you tape down a cable with 2-inch tape, okay? That won't come up now because you've got that 4-inch run, kind of like I'm using 4-inch tape now. It just saves me a lot of time. To pull up tape, this is the most important lesson you're going to learn today. You don't pull your cables, or the tape will wrap around the cable. You pull it up, and you pull the tape off of the cable. You can step on the cable while you're doing it, but do not just pick this up, or you're going to wrap this around it, and it's never coming off. Okay? It's going to make your cables look like crap, and they're going to get gunky and sticky and everything else. Types of tape. Gaffer's tape is what professional people use. The reason gaffer's tape is what they use is when you feel this, you'll notice that it's as sticky and as good as any duct tape, but it doesn't leave a residue when you pull it off of anything. So you can put it on the wall in the hotel, and it's not going to piss off the hotel management. You want a piece? I don't know if you're familiar or not.
I know.
Okay, pass it to him then.
We're sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the difference was. I knew what gaffer tape was, but I didn't know.
Now, a roll like this can cost $56. Okay? If you buy a case of it, which none of us will, because we don't go through that much of it, it'll age, it'll take 12 years to use it up. It'll run down to like 52, so like a hotel like this that uses it every day, they'll buy a case and they'll pay $52 for the double wide, and about $30, I'll say $30, $31, $32 on Amazon, okay? It comes in every color you can imagine. Red, yellow, black. In England, there are laws for hypnotists that you need to have either a white or a yellow line along the edge of the stage. Therefore, I tend to carry some type of a white or yellow tape with me, and that way I can line the edge. And it's a good safety thing when you show up to a show and you look at the stage edge and you go, oh, that's hard to see. really can't delineate, or there's stairs. And the stairs are hard to find, especially if somebody's just woke up and they're going for the stairs. You can put white edges onto the steps, or at least on the edge of the stage where you want them to walk off, and they'll see it. It's like automatic. Also, at the beginning of the show, though, we point out the edge of the stage, because in England, it's a law. You have to actually tell them where the edge of the stage is, and we make it into a kind of a joke. It's like, everybody take one finger, point at the edge of the stage. We call that the edge of the stage. What's so amazing, though, is that your subconscious mind is now going to protect you. It's going to remember where the edge of the stage is even after you're hypnotized. It's kind of bullshit, but because I say that, they believe it, and it becomes real. Okay? Suddenly their subconscious mind is aware of the edge of the stage. I'll also point out cables. If I have cables on, let's say, a gymnasium floor that I haven't taped down or something, and they're going behind the chairs because I have long enough cables, but I'll say, see the cables? Point at the cables. You know that they're there. There are a lot of different types of tape out there, and I carry a variety because I never know what I'm going to need for what situation. Gaffer's tape is, of course, the go-to. And I usually have black and red. My black is in with my trade show stuff right now because I use it when I'm exhibiting. Oh, yeah, there's a small roll of black. Not much left there. And then this tape I actually had to buy because it was for wrapping cables on the back of my trailer. Okay, and it's waterproof and it's for wrapping electrical wires together. And I still carry it with me in case I need it for that sort of purpose. Duct tape is always sticky. I don't stick to anything. And I don't know where this tape came from, honestly, but it's white. So I'm carrying it for the edge of the stage, and it's really strong. It's got a good adhesion to it. It's like stickier than normal, so it might be for like when you wrap a house or a shed, you put the plastic insulation on as a weather layer, and it might be for sealing that, because I've bought that stuff. And it's handy to have a variety, and then just painter's tape. Painter's tape is, comes off of everything, and nice and weak and easy to work with. Cool. I carry tape. I don't know which type I'm gonna need. Sometimes I don't need any. Sometimes I do. The other thing I carry, zip ties. Not many, but you don't know when or how, or a handle's gonna break on a suitcase, or you need to hang up a banner for someone, and yeah, I got it. I got you covered. I carry a small package of zip ties everywhere I go. I also carry double-sided tape. This is a double stick, and I buy the strongest stuff I can, because I don't know when I'm gonna have to necessarily stick something together. The one place that I do use this all the time is on my iPods. I stick these clip hangers onto my iPod so that I can hang that there. And I do use the double stick on that. And I use it every time I have to replace my iPods, but it lasts forever. So I end up carrying the whole roll with me no matter what. I also just put in a solar system on my van, and that's what I needed it for. So I've got the big roll right now, but you can buy a smaller roll and carry tape, sticky adhesives, and things to connect things. Again, this is gonna be just throwing out stuff that I carry because I don't know when or where I'm gonna need it. I carry command hooks, okay? We own a trailer, and sometimes we're hanging cables up in our trailer, or on the outside of the trailer, we're hanging up banners. Command hooks are great for hanging up your banner on the walls or something else. Expensive, and they're available everywhere though. I mean, they're available at every Target, every Walmart, and so I'm carrying those now as an emergency. What else is my emergency kit? Very important, electrical tape. And this stuff is awesome. This is a rubber tape. And it's not actually a tape, but because it's rubber, it sticks to itself. So when something like this breaks and your extension cords and such become thin, I will use it, and I'm going to demonstrate it so that you comprehend, but it will stick to itself. So you can see my old Apple wires. I've had to reinforce them, okay? It sticks to itself. So if I wanted to make these two wires stick together, I stretch it, and by stretching it, the rubber actually bonds to itself. And it's not sticky. It'll actually come back off again, like any tape will, but it's rubber. So it secures that joint so it's flexible. Right here where it used to be coming apart. And again, it's all available on Amazon. And you just have to look for rubber, whatever the hell it is, I don't know. You'll find it. Amazon search engines are good enough. So I carry that, and it's specifically for mending those wires so they don't get worse. As soon as in fact, some of my wires I'll even reinforce before they even break. I'll just go ahead and do it. Or I'll meet people on the road and they'll have a wireless microphone, and I'll say, you're gonna have a problem with your adapter. It's gonna, fray over time, and I'll just go ahead and wrap their wire as a favor. And sometimes I'll wrap an extra piece of electric tape around it at the end, just to make sure it seals to itself. That bag's gonna be a mess to go through. If you're using disposable batteries, these are like $7 on Amazon, okay? It's a battery tester. It tests every type of battery. 9 volts, it tests anything that you can put in here, and it tells you whether the battery's good or not. However, I've gotten out of buying disposable batteries. I am now using only rechargeables, and I don't have to buy batteries anymore. I'm going to pass these around because I want you to see on them that they are USB rechargeable, and the USB cord goes directly into the battery. So on the 9 volt, it's on the bottom. On these, which are, what's the brand name? I forget. Fenix. Fenix is Canadian's military standard, kind of like Motorola was the US military standard for forever. That one has the USB in the end, and then this is another Chinese ripoff, and their USBs are on the end, the tip. We also carry what we call our spiders. Okay? These are 10 USBs, so that when we go into the hotel, we're plugging one extension cord into the wall, not running all over the hotel room trying to find extension cords behind the bed, behind the nightstand, in the bathroom, and everywhere else. We're able to plug, and they make these now when you buy the batteries on Amazon. So you're getting 4, or there's 2s also. This one's a 2, okay? So we can plug in 2 batteries into one USB. So this is a 10 plug. They make them in every denomination, okay? You can buy a 6. There's 2 of us, but we also have iPods, iPhones. On our phone, I have a Mophie case, so I need another one for that. So we actually carry 2 of these with us. One goes in the hotel room for our phones and our iPads and our iPods and everything else. And then this one stays with the act. And then I'm using these antique iPods. So I've got 3 of those cables in here. But everything else is for the batteries. I'm gonna pass another one around so that everybody sees those. They're not cheap, but I've never thrown one away. Okay, Lisa's telling me I threw away one. Okay, they live forever. I mean, we've been together for 7 years. I bought our first set right around the time we got together, and I gave those away because all the paint had already peeled off the batteries at our last boot camp in July last year, or August. I actually gifted them to someone, one of our students. He said, yeah, I'll take them, what the hell? But now I have all new ones. I just wanted to freshen up my stock. And I also use a lot of LED lights for when I'm camping and such. I want the battery-powered ones from China, and I use rechargeable batteries in those. And the thing about the rechargeable batteries, understand that they tell you that they've got 600 recycles, but they have a microchip in there that remembers how much of a life you've used up. So you get 600 full life recharges. So if you charge them up after every show, you're going to be able to recharge them 1,800 times, or 2,000, or 5,000. You don't lose that half-life on the battery, okay? So it's worth the investment, and they last forever. By the way, this little bag is the Amazon Basic bag, and I keep I keep my iPods in here, I keep our wirelesses in here, and I keep the extra batteries in here, and we have 3 of these systems, and one's for my music, and we'll get into that in a moment, and 2 of them are for our handheld microphones.
I'm sorry,
Was
was
it
it
about
about
those
three
that-
of those systems, and what system were you mentioning?
I was saying I have 3 of these wireless.
Oh,
In
thank
other
you.
words, this is the receiver, and this is the transmitter.
Thank you, I looked down at the wrong time, so I missed
Okay,
that.
so this plugs into the mixer, and I use these because they are battery powered, and they're metal, and Sennheiser's good, Sony sure is good.
You have 25 minutes.
Yeah, well, we'll do what we can, that's all. These are the big wireless systems that are a little bit cheaper, and you can buy these on eBay for like $200 to $300 and get a good quality microphone. I like the portability. I don't even carry that one. It's just a backup that I keep and I don't get rid of because I want a spare in case one of ours craps up. But these are the same thing as this. Okay, that's a receiver, this is a receiver. And believe it or not, for my music, this is my receiver that plugs into the mixer, and this is my transmitter. Missed it. Oh, where is it? Oh, it must be the one I had. Where the hell did it go? Not that one. Okay, so because I have 3 different systems, I put nail polish on them. So I know that these 2 go together, and we know that the one with the white dot goes to the microphone. That one does not have a white dot. So that one goes with this one, because that one's blank. And I use nail polish for marking things. And so this one I put a big white dot on it. And that one goes to the white. So I remember which one goes to which when I'm plugging them in. Nail polish, really handy. It
And cheap.
doesn't come off, and I use it for writing and marking, and another way that I use the nail polish is on the tips of my Velcro strips, because when I wrap the wires, okay, this one I haven't painted yet, but when I wrap my wires, you can't find the end of the tip, especially if it's dark in the room. And I used to do red, and then I realized white, much better. White glows, I can find the white. And I mark stuff with white nail polish all the time. I carry 2 of them. Anyway, 25 minutes, ridiculous. I am thirsty, so I'm going to drink my Red Bull. My mouth is dry. The mixers I use, I specifically use a larger mixer than a lot of other people because I almost insist on having a monitor. Does everyone understand what a monitor is? Do you know what a monitor is?
More or less.
Okay.
Tell
A
it for the
monitor is
people
a
in the room.
speaker that sits on the stage facing the stage. These speakers are facing the audience. They are for the audience to hear. I have 12 people on stage, including 2 more. So we have 14 people on stage and need to be able to hear. So a monitor, most speakers are also built with this so that they will sit like that. And it faces this way. And we can hear what's going on. Forever, we would buy 3 different components. We would buy a mixer, we would buy an amplifier, and we would buy a speaker. Now then they started putting the amplifiers into the mixer, and that is called a receiver. Okay, it's just called a receiver. It's a mixer with an amplifier built in. Terminology is receiver. Now we have powered speakers. So they put the amplifier into the speaker. So we only need a mixer and a speaker with an amplifier built in. Those are called active or powered. Anyone that's in the business will let you call it either one. Active's a technical, the advantage to putting them in the speakers, my metaphor is an automobile. If you're going to buy a car, they made the transmission match the engine. Okay? You didn't get if you own a Volkswagen bus and you put a Porsche transmission into it, you're going to blow your engine. And if you put a Porsche engine in there, you're going to blow your transmission if it's the original transmission. If you have a Volkswagen bus and you want to put in that Porsche engine, you have to replace the transmission and the engine. Okay? Speakers, they've already matched the amplifier, they've matched the crossovers, which means that some of this amplifier is going to the tweeter, and most of it is going to the woofer, because the woofer needs more power. And it's already got the crossovers matched. I can plug a microphone into the back of one of these speakers, and I will not distort, no matter how loud I go. This is the one annoying moment when Lisa goes, please don't do it. 1, 2, check, test, okay? I'm going to turn this up to its full volume, and you're going to see that that wasn't much. There's a button on here that I can't find because I don't have my glasses on. All right, I got to turn this down before I do that. Good, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's on its max. Let's try the other channel. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why it's only that high. That's really weird. Anyway, these are my good speakers. Well, just for the hell of it, turn that off. We're going to take this one. This is an EV10. Inside the other room, you've got 12-inch, the K12. To me, that is the industry standard speaker, okay? These are good speakers. Those are great speakers. I have always owned Mackie, because Mackie was the first one to ever power a speaker and make the first industry standard, which I bought 20 years ago. And then I wanted to move up to QSC, which is what the QSC 12 is in the other room. And is this power on or off? Why aren't you going on? Ah, there we go. Okay. So, we're going to put the microphone.
On the floor behind your foot.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is up all the way. Going directly into the speaker, I'm not distorting.
When I run this through the mixer, though, I can then make it distort, where it's going to sound awful.
And I can have, I can shout into this and it's not going to distort. It still stays.
That's the advantage to powered speakers, is that they are so balanced. It's like, you buy a new car, you can floor that engine and run it, the speedometer all the way. You're not going to blow your transmission or the engine, as long as it's automatic, and you're in the right gear if you're standard. And I did an experiment recently. I ordered on Amazon and then returned 4 different speakers. I ordered the new EVs, the EV8. I bought the 8-inch Bose Pro S1, and I bought the new Bose S1 Pro Plus. And I had my QSCs, which are 8-inch. These were all 8-inch speakers. set them up in my living room. My sister wasn't home. I plugged in my mixer and I tested each one and I wanted to see what the difference was. The Bose S1s only weigh 16 pounds. They have a 150 watt amplifier in them, and they have a battery pack in them. So you don't even need power cords. If you don't want to use them, you can charge them up. The older generation, which they're like clearing out and they're hard to find now at $500 a piece, but you can still find them at like $6, had a little bit of hiss in it when I turned it up all the way. The newer model, the Plus, had no hiss turning it up all the way, but it had all digital controls. And the problem with digital controls is that if you're outside, you can't quite see them if it's a bright sunny day, unless you're cupping and putting a blanket over your head. The EV had a 400 watt amplifier, but it weighed about 4 pounds more, or 6 pounds or 8 pounds more. And then my QSCs have a 1,000 watt amplifier in them, and they weigh 21 pounds. These sounded better, the QSCs, when push came to shove. But an 8-inch speaker is an 8-inch speaker, okay? It's like buying a new car with a 4-cylinder engine. It's still a car with a 4-cylinder engine. It's not gonna be, you know, the performance is around other features in the car, not necessarily the engine. And I was actually disappointed that my QSCs were not that much better with a 1,000 watt amplifier, but I wasn't disappointed either. The advantage to these 8-inch speakers is that they're small and portable, okay? I mean, these things, I want you guys to pick it up and feel what 21 pounds is, and know that Lisa can carry them in and out for me. I don't have to anymore, I can sit in the car. And, but she can also get them up onto a tripod, okay? My original Mackies, which were, I didn't bring one because they're buried in my trailers. My original Mackies, which were 12s, weighed 51 pounds. And they're really heavy. They're just, Lisa could never lift it up over her head and put it onto a tripod. And I'm 63, and it's getting old, even carrying them in and out, because there are times, like when the escalator isn't working, and you have to carry your gear up a flight of stairs.
There's an elevator, just so you know.
I know, I'm using it. But, you know, 51-pound speakers, you're going to carry them one at a time up and down the stairs, okay? It gets really old. The newer Mackies, same model make, are 37 pounds, and it's like, thank God, you know, they're a little bit lighter. And what they've done, what's made everything lighter is, number one, they're now making the cases a little bit lighter, which means it hurts their performance. But what makes them lighter is that they took automobile amplifiers, boom, 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 those amplifiers, and they put them into the speakers. Whereas car amplifiers were once different technology. A lot of automotive technology is moving over into other fields. And microphones cost about $600 for a new one, okay? You can get things on eBay for $350 that are used and good quality because people didn't use them. And so when buying new equipment, I highly recommend good quality microphone though, because it's something you'll use the rest of your life. The other thing that I recommend is good quality tripods. I don't recommend buying an expensive video camera. When you're starting out, you're not going to kill your video camera. You can use a cheap one. It has this high resolution. The advantage to a good camera, and those were $1,600 cameras when I bought them originally. They're now 4 generations old. The advantage is that I haven't killed one. I have killed one. I killed the screen from opening it and closing it. The wires got screwed up inside. I own 3 of the same camera though. So the first one I bought was $1,600. Second one I bought was $600 on eBay. Third one I bought, I forget what we paid.
8, I think.
3 or 8, I don't know, I
Oh,
forget.
yeah. 3 or
But, you know,
4.
I own 3 of the identical cameras, because now the parts are interchangeable. If another one breaks, I'll take the parts off the broken one I have in the closet, and I've had these for 7 or 8 years. The microphone, I always make sure when I buy a video camera that I can have an external boom microphone. The quality is enough that it's worth it, okay? The built-in microphone, it'll pick up omnidirectional sound in the entire room.